Hi guys from Pax Europiana here from my little improvised pro-NATO demonstration here. This is in front of the Chamber of Commerce, the Chamber of the Workers. Yeah, that's a very specific Austrian institution because in Austria we have this tradition of chambers for workers, for agricultural people, for the businesses. We are very much a cooperatistic society, and this is for the workers. Everybody who is employed has to pay. And this is, of course, a left-wing organization. And I would like to explain the history of Austria and why we are not in NATO, which is a big tragedy because we should. We were always a Western country. We were never occupied by the communists. Yeah? We were not Yugoslavia, obviously. We are a pro-Western country and we should be part of NATO. But the Austrian left and the Austrian nationalists and the Austrian Christian Democrats, they all were very much against it because they hate America. That's the overreaching argument with everybody because the left hates it for capitalist reasons and for anti-imperialist reasons. The Christian Democrats hate it for some kind of bizarre Christianity kind of thinking and the lack of information. And of course the left and the nationalists hate it because the Americans have defeated the Nazis. Yeah? That's basically the story here, and obviously they're also very much against capitalism. And so we are in a complete mess. And here, now in the year 2022, when we have this opportunity, because Sweden and Finland are joining NATO, and the Austrian left is adamantly for neutrality. Also the Austrian establishment of the conservatives, yeah, this is basically the state energy building. They love Russia for the energy and, you know, this kind of Austrian way of the bridge to Russia, which is so lucrative for the very few who are on the boards and who are making the commissions with the Russians. Most people then don't really benefit so much, but you can somehow cow them into hating nuclear, hating coal, hating fracking gas, and then it's basically only Russian gas, the alternative. Luckily you can provide it with your links to the Russian embassy, and then you make a lot of money. Thanks Wolfgang Schüssel for selling Austria to Russia, to your own big benefits and your imperial kind of assets in Carinthia and Lower Austria, and you are very happy with yourself. And Alois Mock would turn into his grave that he supported you and you later sold out to Russia. This is the situation. But the origin, of course, is all this neutrality deal. And the Austrian left has a big tradition with Russia. Obviously they were competing. The German and the Austrian left, having parties, the social democratic parties, they were competing for the dominance with the Russian, it was called the Social Revolutionaries. This was the party which was defeated by the Bolsheviks. They were competing for ideological dominance in the German-speaking and in the Central European area before the First World War. There's a huge tradition here from the left to hate America and to be anti-NATO. And that's exactly what we still face here. And in that tradition, they are still working. And so we are the one country of the three countries which 95 joined, yeah? Because Helmut Kohl invited us into the EU in order to be fast, to use this opportunity of a weak Russia. And Franz Warnicki had this wisdom with Erhard Busek, who just recently passed away too early because he was fighting so much for peace, and it was a tragedy. And these two gentlemen, they had the decency to overcome all this kind of left-wing package and this Christian kind of cooperatistic package and confront all the nationalists and all the socialists and really lead Austria into the EU. That was the historic thing in '95. Now it's the second time we have this historic opening by this crazy and terrible war Russia wages in Ukraine. The Swedes and the Finns have decided to join NATO. But in Austria, not a single political party. You have to imagine, not a single political party. You know, I'm not surprised by the left, yeah. I'm very negatively surprised by the conservatives, yeah. But not even the liberals. I mean, the good liberals, yeah, the neos, yeah. Not the nationalists. Yeah. I was sure the nationalists, who are basically a party funded by Putin, yeah. They were, from 2008, he gave them all the money to have this reconstruction of their success after the chaos of the late Haider years. So that is basically the disappointment. Not a single party in Austria, no party leader. We have 5 parties in Austria. Not a single one has the courage to call for NATO. There's even now, things have changed now in the war, there's many leading journalists who are now calling for NATO membership. There's leading generals and security experts calling for NATO. But there's not a single leading European mainstream politician. There's some, like senior statesmen, Andreas Kohl, respect. Yeah. There's others, there is some. Yeah. We have not really formed a coalition because there's so few. But that we are not in NATO is completely anomaly. Yeah? Doesn't have to say that you cannot be anti-American. We have even Hungary in NATO. We have all these countries. Also Germany is in NATO and Mr. Scholz is practically in the nirvana. So you don't have to overcome all your anti-American prejudices, Mrs. Randy Wagner. No, and you can continue your confused economic policy, Magnus Brunner. I was trying to educate you since the last 20 years, 25 years. But okay, I'm not successful in that one. But at least to be in NATO like any other normal European country with the exemption of very minimal Malta, Cyprus and Ireland very soon. And I will also wage the campaigns, and Cyprus, by the way, would love to be in NATO, but it's the Turks who block it. So it's just the very left re-elected socialist corrupts of Malta and the Irish, which are completely confused. Yeah? And Austria. And I ask myself, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I can write in German, in Albanian, in English. I try to publish everywhere, but of course, me alone. And there's no big coalition. Erhard Busek told me I should form a coalition, but I don't know with whom. I'm working with the Greens, with the Liberals, with the Social Democrats. I'm really happy to work with anybody. Just get into NATO and our children will be living secure forever and they will be normal Europeans and we can overcome all the rest much later. So my call here in front of Arbeiterkammer. Please don't miss this historic opportunity of Sweden, Finland joining in May. Let's do the application. Let's not make a big mess in the population. Let's just have a four-party coalition of pro-NATO parties, Social Democrats, Christian Democrats, Liberals and Greens. Let's get this done and let's be a normal European country. That would be so good. Thanks a lot for listening and please, Austria, join NATO. Here from Pax Europiana, more to come. Thanks a lot from Linz. Bye.